So, Francis, how did the last stop in Yuma County all come about?
Oh man, it's kind of a long story, but I'll try and shorten it up a bit. I did this short film called High Desert Hell back in 2018, and that played at a film festival in Cincinnati called Horror Hound, and it was a early morning 7 a.m. screening the morning after a big the opening night party. So nobody showed up, but there was one guy that showed up, James Clays, who saw it and was like, basically like, let's make a movie together. And I wrote something. We were originally planning on doing it for like 50 grand, and so I was like, I got to write something really contained and try to make a one single room thriller. And uh, obviously the movie is more than $50,000. So
Right.
what ended up happening is James ended up selling his house to finance the movie. So um, you know that was just fucking crazy. It was a roller coaster of emotions for years, and then once he decided to sell his house and we had the financing and the cast ready to go, that's kind of what happened.
And I don't know if Staley sent you my blurb or not when I wrote her the email saying I felt like this was kind of a mix of early David Mamet with the characters in Quentin Tarantino
Oh
dialogue. So, did you
yeah,
have
yeah.
any of those inspirations in mind for the characters as well in your film?
Yeah, I think my biggest influence is probably like Sam Peckinpah, Don
Yeah.
Siegel, this kind of 70s throwbacks. And then like obviously like Hitchcock is just a huge influence all around, from like crafting the shots and all that. And just finding ways to ratchet up tension and build suspense throughout. He definitely his films definitely played a big part in that.
And, when the casting came together, you got Jim Cummings, you got Jocelin, you got Faizon Love in a role that he rarely does, and he killed it and stole the movie, I thought. And you got Richard Brake as well. So with all these actors,
Yeah.
character actors in here, including Gene Jones from The Sacrament, I mean, he was,
Yeah.
of course, in the diner as well. So how was it like as a director working with all of these actors?
Oh man, I just kind of had to pinch myself throughout the whole process. It was pretty bizarre because a lot of these actors I had in mind when I was writing these characters. So the fact that we were able actually to as able to cast them, like that was just surreal because I've been such a big fan of everybody you just mentioned, and even to like Sierra McCormick and Nicholas Logan. I saw them. I saw Sierra and the Vast Eye, and just thought she just was incredible. So it was just weird, being a huge fan of this entire cast, and then getting the opportunity to work with them and having a real like collaborative experience with them was just definitely it was surreal, man.
And, how was it difficult at all containing this film in that one spot at the diner? Or was that kind of enthusiastic on your part as well, knowing that all these characters are pretty much going to be in the same place the whole movie?
Yeah, it had its ups and downs, right? It's trying. It definitely logistically was more simple. Right. We weren't doing company moves constantly. We were pretty much in one spot. But, putting if how many actors are in the one, like 10, 12 actors in one room, especially during like the big standoff, like it's just a lot to manage, a lot of moving parts. But uh, we were able to my DP and I we prep extensively for this everything. He has shot all my short films, all my music videos, and we use shot designer and photo board and storyboard and just plan very meticulously. So going in there with a real thought out plan on everything made it a lot easier for sure. And also the actors were really game to jump on Zoom calls and go through the script and talk about the lines and the dialogue and anything that felt forced or contrived. I would rewrite it on the spot. So just showing up with the time constraints that we had, knowing exactly what the fuck we were gonna do, that definitely helped a lot.
And that's what I wanted to ask you too. How involved were the actors with their own characters trying to bring more background story to it, especially when you have somebody like Jim Cummings as the star, who is another fantastic writer and director himself. What also
Yeah.
did they all bring separately to help kind of mold their characters as well?
Yeah, I mean, I always start off with like character bios that I'll send the actors, and then it's just a lot of like long-winded discussions about background and characters and motivations, and there's all this conversation that like uh before we even show up that really help define and elevate these characters. And there you kind of hit a point where you as a director, like, you start to trust that they know exactly who these people are, and then once there's that like understanding, then it just makes it a lot easier to be able to throw out ideas and experiment a little bit. And like a couple in particular, like Nicholas Logan and Connor, who plays Gavin, the deputy, like they really took these characters and swung for the fences, and I just had some laughs that I was like, "Fuck it, let's go," like let's try it. And obviously, like somebody like a character like Charlotte and Jocelyn, like that, obviously had to be a lot more grounded, and there had to be this constant sense of dread with her. But characters like Connor or Gavin, who's like completely oblivious in the story, we really got to have fun and play with
Yeah.
that a lot.
And how does it feel
Yeah.
having this play at Fantastic Fest as well after your short film premiered at or played at Horror Hound? This has to be almost like a
Yeah.
180 with how you feel right now about the last stop in Yuma.
Oh, yeah. No, it's surreal, man. I've just been a huge fan of like this festival. I've never been, but just the films that premiere here, and just the energy and the crowd. Like it feels like a very good home for this movie and a perfect place to premiere it.
And what are you looking forward to people getting out the most out of the last stop in Yuma?
Just wanted to have a fun time, man. That's it. I think we tried a fun movie. I just want the audience to have a fun time watching it. And it's a throwback, right, to like
Yeah.
to films that we don't see as much these days. So, and I know it's not for everybody, but like I love those movies, and I try to kind of take that and infuse it into this.
Yeah, and I agree with the throwback because on top of David Mamet and what I said earlier, it does almost have a feel to the
Yeah.
early Cohen brothers works as well, especially with the way the DP used the lighting in the diner as well to kind of make that as important as the characters within the diner as well.
Oh, totally. Yeah, yeah, definitely. Yeah, we definitely referenced Blood Simple and a lot of early Coen Brothers stuff, and those are like their movies also do a fantastic job of like putting absurd characters in a grounded setting, and like that's kind of what we tried to do. So yeah, I mean, I love the Coen Brothers, all their movies. You know, um, so yeah, they were definitely a huge influence. Hitchcock, like said, Peck and Pod, Siegel, all those sort of like gritty throwbacks with like, over the top characters.
Well, Francis, thank you so much for joining us today and congratulations on the film.
Thank you so much, man. Thanks for jumping on.